When it comes to education, there are numerous amounts of barriers and inalienable aspects that stop certain people from receiving the education they deserve. They include aspects like the access to materials and technology, or even physical capabilities. This is where equity should be prioritized over equality. Some students need more support when learning a content than others do, which leads me to my favorite teacher in high school, Mr. DeLuca. He was my economics teacher in grade 11 and 12. He was a very humble, noble, and wise man. He would provide you with assistance whenever you needed it, even on weekends through emails. Not only was he good at teaching the subject, he always made class enjoyable, giving us games and practical activities for us to engage in the sometimes boring content. Commencing my educational journey in 2010 in prep at St. Bernard's and finishing at Clever MacKillop College in 2023. It was an extensive journey with a great deal of changes. Progressing through the changes of primary to high school came with challenges that every individual would have to overcome. However, throughout my journey I discovered passions and desires that would guide me down my career path of teaching. Struggling to make a decision towards the end of grade 12, my economics teacher Mr. DeLuca inspired me to become a teacher. He motivated me to understand that classes can be fun by respecting each other by creating a fun and engaging working environment. Not only that, but he also showed passion in the classroom through equity. Understanding that not everyone would understand what he was teaching, offering extra tutoring lessons and advice to get the best marks possible, which really inspired me to become a teacher, knowing the connections that we made with him could be me one day with my students. Throughout my journey at high school, my three favorite subjects were HPE, maths, and economics. The teachers I had showed me respect, honesty, and patience, which overall made me trust them with my education. Therefore, being enjoyable classes, it made me work harder to succeed, to prove to myself, to my teacher, and also to my parents that I was putting in effort. They did that by making the class enjoyable and making genuine connections. This was done through values and beliefs in the classroom, which included respect, honesty, and persistence. In education, we all have aims and goals we are working towards. Noddings and Biesta were two influential philosophers who believed in different outcomes for teaching, where Biesta had the idea that in the classroom, students should gain intelligence through critical thinking and creativity. However, Noddings had a conflicting theory where the classroom should be enjoyable, which I believe is the most important part. As for me, at school, the enjoyable classes were the ones I was eager to go to without any hesitation. Noddings looks through the conspiracy of happiness in the classroom and tries to elaborate how we function better when we are happy. Reading the article, something that Noddings stated stuck with me. Beyond poverty, increased wealth does not often bring increased happiness, and a lot of physically healthy people are unhappy. This is highlighting the fact that just because we are intelligent human beings with assets does not mean we are happy. Supporting this statement by expressing something along the same lines is the Greeks, where Aristotle pointed out that when we are ill, health seems most important. When we are broke, wealth seems most important, and so on. This means obtaining wealth doesn't make anyone happy. Well, what does make people happy then? There is no one common denominator, although Notting states in her readings, Lane provides empirical evidence for companionship as the main source of happiness. Looking from Notting's point of view, it was evident that her values were making students happy by building bonds, creating a sense of trust. This is exactly how I would teach. Creating that trust is vital in gaining respect from the students, making them actually care on what you say, and overall making them eager to learn. In addition, Noddings and Biesta valued their teachings on the philosophy of education. According to H. Segal, philosophy of education is the branch of applied or practical philosophy concerned with the nature and aims of education and the philosophical problems arising from educational theory and practice, which is putting the principles of their teaching into practice virtually. As Noddings was known for her work in ethics of care and its application to education, her philosophy of education emphasizes the importance of caring relationships in the teaching and learning environment. Noddings argued that education should be centered around the development of caring relationships between teachers and students, as well as among students themselves, overall creating a positive working environment. However, although Noddings' teachings are important to build a relationship with students, I believe Biesta had some valuable teaching techniques that are effective in the classroom that tie into the philosophy of education. One of them is postmodernism. According to H.A. Husani, in postmodern education, teachers just lead students to discover new things, basically giving the students the freedom to discover new skills such as critical thinking, advanced knowledge, and social identities. This will build students' skills for everyday life decisions and be helpful for them to finding their identity. In addition, teaching is a vocation. Myself being a future teacher, I believe the best way to become a fantastic teacher is to know all of my students and their backgrounds. This is something Noddings values herself on, giving everyone the best chance at learning and overall in education. Supporting this is Pope Paul VI, stating, "People of every race, condition, since they enjoy the dignity of human being, have an inalienable right to education. Everyone deserves the right to an education. With the diverse country we live in, I believe that both equality and equity is needed to enhance most of the students in the classroom, giving that some students will need more attention than others. So being a teacher, I would teach like Noddings did, through creating a fun and engaging environment with my students, providing them with advice not just about the education aspect, but life in general, teaching them to be humble, kind, and passionate human beings."